Why are Pakistan and India at odds? History, facts, and hidden conspiracies. Why have two nations that speak similar languages, wear similar clothes, and revere the same ancestors been ready to destroy each other for almost 100 years? India and Pakistan are two countries born in the fire of one state, divided by a line drawn in a few weeks. But what if this confrontation is not just a dispute over Kashmir, but something more? Religion, blood, colonial intrigues, secret treaties, and even the involvement of superpower intelligence services, all this is intertwined in one of the longest and most dangerous conflicts on the planet. Today we will go deep into the 20th century, to where it all began. We will reveal the real reasons for the enmity, show historical facts that textbooks are silent about, and figure out who benefits from the eternal war between India and Pakistan. Subscribe, and you will find out what has been carefully hidden for decades. The division of British India, the beginning of the hostility. 1947, the British Empire, exhausted by World War II, is in a hurry to leave India, the pearl of its colonial crown. But it does not leave silently. It leaves behind a bloody scar that has not yet healed. Instead of one state, two are born, secular India and Muslim Pakistan. Politicians sign documents. Lord Mountbatten, the last viceroy, solemnly declares independence. But ordinary people, millions of Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs, become pawns in this political game. Facts that make your blood run cold. More than 15 million people were forced to leave their homes, moving across new borders. About 2 million died as a result of ethnic cleansing, rape, burned villages and uncontrolled massacres. Trains full of refugees arrived at their destinations, already dead. This was not just partition. It was an explosion. A tragedy the likes of which the Indian subcontinent had never seen in its entire history. But what if it was not just a political decision? There are theories that partition was not so much a mistake as a strategic calculation. Some historians believe that the British, fully aware that divide and rule works even after they left, deliberately provoked conflict between Hindus and Muslims. After all, a divided region is a region that is easier to control from the outside. There is evidence that the British and American intelligence services monitored the partition process and even interfered with the borders. Why, for example, was the Radcliffe Line, the border between India and Pakistan, drawn 5 weeks before the British left, in conditions of absolute secrecy? A coincidence or geopolitical calculation? This rush created chaos, exactly the kind that those who want to keep the region on the hook need. It was from this moment, August 1947, that the story of hatred, mutual grievances, war and propaganda began, which continues to this day. Why Kashmir became the epicenter of the conflict, and how the great powers fuel this enmity for their own interests. Kashmir is the heart of the conflict between India and Pakistan. The region, sandwiched between the Himalayas, with mountain valleys, sacred rivers and strategic passes, found itself at the epicenter of a geopolitical storm immediately after the partition of British India. Formally, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir had the right to choose whether to join India or Pakistan. But Raja Hari Singh, a Hindu by faith, ruling over a Muslim-majority region, hesitated. He wanted to maintain independence and was in no hurry to make a decision. Pakistan was not happy with this. In October 1947, tribal forces from Pakistan invaded Kashmir under the pretext of protecting Muslims. Hari Singh, trapped, asked for military assistance from India. India agreed, but put forward a condition: the Raja must formally sign the instrument of accession of Kashmir to the Union of India. He signed. Thus began the First Indo-Pakistani War, which saw the territory divided into two parts, one controlled by India, the other by Pakistan. The UN intervened, calling for a ceasefire, but no final decision was made on the fate of Kashmir. Decades have passed since then, but Kashmir has become a symbol of mistrust, pain, and national pride for both sides. Two more major wars broke out in the region, in 1965 and 1999. The latter, known as the Kargil War, almost led to a nuclear conflict. After all, both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons, and both sides say they are ready to use them if it comes to a threat to territorial integrity. There is an opinion that Kashmir is not just a dispute over land. It is a battleground of ideologies: secular, multi-ethnic India and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. It is both an instrument of military propaganda and a point of pressure through which external players, from China to the United States, can influence the region. The CIA and British MI6 are suspected of having actively interfered in the Kashmiri agenda back in the 1980s and 1990s, arming militants and funding insurgent groups. There is evidence that some of the terrorist attacks that have taken place in the region have been strangely coordinated and accompanied by suspicious activity by outside agents. The local population includes millions of people trapped between two nuclear powers. Kashmiris suffer from a constant military presence, restrictions, disappearances and repression. Civilian casualties number in the tens of thousands. Many are even forbidden to speak freely about what is happening. The internet in the region is disconnected for months, journalists are persecuted, and protests are suppressed with particular brutality. And yet, neither side gives up their claims. For India, Kashmir is an integral part of the nation. For Pakistan, it is the pain of Muslims that must be atoned for. And for global powers, this is another point on the map where they can weaken competitors, supply weapons, test political scenarios, and keep the region in a state of instability. The history of Kashmir is the history of a wound that they won't let be stitched up. It is a chronicle of blood, in which imperial greed, religious hatred, political calculation, and national tragedy are intertwined. The modern confrontation between India and Pakistan has long gone beyond open warfare. Today, it takes the form of a hybrid struggle: intelligence operations, cyber attacks, psychological pressure, information warfare, as well as support for separatism and terrorism on both sides of the border. And if earlier conflicts were waged with the help of armies and tanks, today the battlefield is the consciousness of people and the digital space. One of the main tools has become the intelligence services. On the one hand, RAW, Research and Analysis Wing, India's Foreign Intelligence Service. On the other, ISI, Inter-Services Intelligence, the Pakistani Special Service, which has virtually unlimited power in the state. It is the ISI that is accused of supporting radical groups operating on Indian territory, such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, which have repeatedly carried out terrorist attacks in Kashmir and even in central India. The most high-profile episode was the 2008 Mumbai attacks, which killed 166 people. The investigation concluded that the attackers were trained in Pakistan and the operation was coordinated from ISI-controlled territory. India is not standing aside. According to Pakistani analysts, RAW is active in Balochistan, a region where a separatist movement against Pakistan's central government is actively developing. Islamabad is confident that India is financing and arming the rebels, trying to destabilize the situation from within. In addition, both countries accuse each other of cyber espionage and spreading fake information that incites hatred between peoples. In this conflict, even culture and media have become weapons. Films, songs, talk shows, all this is used to create an image of the enemy. Pakistan bans Indian films, and in Indian blockbusters, militants with Muslim names have become a cliché. Troll factories and social networks are spreading hatred, and every provocation, from statements by politicians to the border of violations, instantly goes viral. Some experts say that this eternal war is driven not only by emotions and religion, but also by the geostrategic interests of superpowers. The US, China, and Russia are all using tensions in the region in their own way. Pakistan is closely connected to China. The economically important China-Pakistan corridor, part of the global project, One Belt, One Road, passes through it. In turn, India receives support from the US, especially in the field of technology and defense. This turns the conflict into a chessboard of world politics, where each piece is an army, a resource, or an information attack. Radical sentiments are growing among the population. In Kashmir, young people are increasingly taking up arms. India accuses Pakistan of brainwashing and recruiting via the internet. Pakistan accuses India of violence and discrimination against Muslims. And the world community is watching and keeping silent. The paradox is that both countries spend billions of dollars on defense while millions of their citizens live below the poverty line. Each new round of tension strengthens the power of the hawks, weakens the voice of peace, and creates new wounds in the hearts of generations. The question remains, can this feud end? Or was it created to last forever? Today, almost 80 years after the partition of British India, the conflict between India and Pakistan is rapidly approaching the boiling point again. The world is holding its breath again. There is shelling on the border. In Kashmir, there are arrests, rallies, and internet blockades. Both sides are increasing their military presence, conducting large-scale exercises and making blood-curdling statements. A new escalation is brewing, and no one knows how it will end. The situation has become much worse in recent months. Anti-Indian sentiments are growing in Pakistan. In India, there are calls for a tough response for every border violation. The words, "Kashmir is ours, peace is impossible, the enemy is at the gate," are heard again. Politicians are using nationalism as a lever of pressure on their domestic audience. Both countries are preparing, not for negotiations, but for war. Amid all this, alarming signals are emerging. Both countries continue to modernize their nuclear arsenals. The development of new ballistic missiles, the testing of underwater delivery systems, the activation of nuclear doctrines, all this speaks to one thing: they are not just threatening each other, they are preparing for the worst-case scenario. India is revising its "no first-use" policy, and Pakistan is declaring that they will not wait for the first strike. This is no longer just rhetoric. This is a direct threat to millions of lives. There is also a third force, Kashmir. The youth, who grew up in war, are tired of being afraid. The rebellion is growing. Radical ideas are penetrating the consciousness. Every killed student, every purge only fuels the cycle of hatred. And while politicians blame each other, reality is slipping into the hands of those who do not believe in diplomacy. The future scenarios are alarming. According to one of them, a new local conflict will escalate into a quick but destructive war. According to another, a civil uprising will break out in Kashmir, which will drag both countries into a series of internal crises. The third is the intervention of external forces. China, the US, maybe even Turkey, everyone is pursuing their own goals, and in conditions of instability, they can start flexing their muscles. But there is hope. In negotiations, in diplomacy, in the fact that common sense will win out over the passion for revenge. That the memory of past tragedies will keep the world from a new catastrophe. That history will finally be heard. This conflict is a lesson to all of humanity. About how easy it is to ignite hostility. And how difficult it is to stop the flames later. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about what history books hide. Share this video so that the truth is not lost in the noise of propaganda. And remember, the future can still be changed.